Welcome to the Jim Fleming Show on the Rhody Sports Network. From Learfield, tonight's show is brought to you by Pizza Gourmet. Rhode Island's wood-grilled pizza crust is a proud sponsor of URI football. Clean Right, fast 24/7 emergency cleaning and disaster restoration. Floor and Decor, shop unmatched selection and get flooring, tile, and wood at unbeatable prices. Orthopedics Rhode Island, the official orthopedic and sports medicine provider for URI Athletics. Dave's Fresh Marketplace. Better food, better service. Newport Propane, Rhode Island's #1 choice for all your propane needs. Here's your host, Steve MacDonald.
All righty, welcome to the Mews Tavern, George McAuliffe's place. George is here hanging out with Matt Swiss over there and Chris Black from Learfield. Man, we got a packed house here tonight. You win a few games, Coach. You get them going a little bit.
Right? It goes that way.
Little CAA championship. Yeah. Roll it up with another big start to the year. And start to the year. We're two-thirds of the way through this thing, right?
Yeah, it doesn't feel like the start to the football coaches in the room, I promise you. It's been a grind.
It's been a grind. This is the dog days. You know, they talk about the dog days of a baseball season, 162 games. But even though you play 12 regulation games, there is a dog day for it too, right? I mean, you got to grind these ones.
Yeah, I mean, you get to a point. I mean, this is 9, the ninth game. And then you really, at some point, if you're playing in the Ivy League, you only got one more left.
No kidding.
Yeah,
that's
how about that?
And then you start really playing after that, right? Then they really count.
That was a dig. If we can't understand that,
Hey, want to thank everybody from Rhode Island's #1 choice for all your propane needs. Newport Propane, family owned and operated since 1959. Newport Propane will treat you like part of the family. Visit them at newportpropane.com. It's the Jim Fleming Coaches Show, number 13 in the country. The URI Rams football team. Parents' weekend this weekend. Game at 1 o'clock against Bryant, in-state rival. 12 straight wins at Mews Stadium on the line on Saturday afternoon. And we're going to be talking to Flem, of course. Mike Flanagan, the offensive coordinator and associate head coach, is here. And Chris Lorenti, the defensive coordinator and inside linebackers coach, is with us as well. We'll have Troy Gilman on a little later on in the year, I'm sure, for their special. We're going to talk all special teams with everybody that comes on tonight. That's what we're going to do.
I was really considering giving all 3 of those guys tonight. I could have just checked out.
Weasel out of this one.
Yeah.
Hey, Coach, something very important going on today, even more important than the Jim Fleming Coaches Show. It's Rhody Athletics Challenge Day. Each athletic program competes with each other in a good way to raise money that is dedicated specifically to that sport. And that's really the really key part of it. Bonus money is given out to teams that raise the most. There's a lot of different ways to move that number up. You go to GoRhody.com, and it's got a list of all the opportunities to match your donation, different ways you can help to double the impact and all that. And it'll have that link so you can get to the place where you can donate as well. If you go in there, there'll be a headline, and under the headline there's a little icon to send you to the place where you can donate. And football, matching the first $25,000 raised thanks to a generous anonymous donor, Andrew Meehan. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. We weren't supposed to say. I'm sorry, Andrew. Andrew's our producer and executive engineer for this. How about a nice round of applause for Andrew?
Yes.
He's the best in the business.
Good guy.
Best in the business. Does all our games and coaches shows and everything. Appreciate Andrew all the time. But, Coach, you just checked, and we're already over $25,000 for football, right? We're soaring past it.
Looking at the board right now, it looks like we got about $87,000.
Wow.
But I think overall, it's about halfway home. Thor's sitting in the back over here. I think that for the last 2 years we've had this, we've been over $1 million of donation all in for athletics overall, and it's critical. So if we got listeners out there that have an interest in Rhody athletics, it is time. The games, the sports, everything is starting to be astronomically expensive. It's hard to continue to keep up with the Joneses, and every little bit helps. And certainly these days and Day of Giving in the spring, these things really help keep the boat afloat and absolutely necessary, not only just to give, to keep our program going, but to give the kids, the student athletes, their best experience, getting fed right, do the right thing, how we outfit them. And So it's a critical deal, and we certainly hope that anybody's listening picks up, takes your advice, and gets on there and makes a little donation. I did it reluctantly today. I'm a very cheapskate guy, but my boss asked me to do it, and I said, yes, sir.
Yeah, I don't want to be the one that didn't, right? So let me put something in there. Last year, the total came to $1.17 million raised, and right now, I think we're at close to $500,000. Is that
about $500,000? It looked like.
Yeah.
Thor might have more updated stats, but certainly we have some hours left. Hours left in the day. It goes to 12 o'clock tonight, so hopefully we got some generous people.
Thor, tack on another $20 from me, will you? It ends at a minute after midnight tonight, so you got enough time to get it done. A minute 12:01 a.m. tonight is when it closes down. So make sure that you make your donation, be as generous as you can, and there's a lot of different ways to double it and everything. So your money's really going to go a long way to help out the student athletes this in football. And if you got another sport that if you're a swimming fan and you support, then get it for swimming. But we'd love to have you support that football team, and especially with the success that they've been having. Coach, one other note before we get to that team of yours. 2026 Pro Football Hall of Fame list came out. The candidates knocked down from 128 to 52. 9 Patriots on the list, and one of them is Logan Mankins, the left tackle for the Patriots back in the day, and he is, of course, Case Mankin's dad.
Absolutely. Was here just a couple weeks ago sitting in the crowd, listening to Case on the radio. I think, he's a junior captain for us and a great kid, and nobody could be more deserving than Logan. So hopefully that's a first-time bid and walks right into that thing and puts a gold jacket on him. He certainly deserves. Great guy.
And I bet there's an award for his son at the end of this year, all CAA at some level. He has had a heck of a year.
Yeah, I think that's without a doubt. He's been a mainstay for us down inside. He plays a number of different positions across the front there. He's a physical kid. He plays with great technique and great passion. So, we couldn't be happier. And, anytime you get these kids that are, I consider right across the border, local as well.
Sure,
it's important for them to represent the state of Rhode Island, and he's done a great job. He's a great kid and great player.
Yeah, North Attleboro kid, right? So, and I remember when he was on, his dad was there, and I said, defensive lineman, how do you not end up an offensive lineman? He said, I was too athletic. His dad loved that. Oh, man. Hey, a couple of notes. Did you like that 58-17 win over Albany? Right? That's the way to do it right there. 58 points for the University of Rhode Island, getting it done. That is the most points in regulation since 1942, when Rhode Island beat Worcester Tech 66-13. They had a 6 overtime game against Maine, if you remember that one, back in 82. 58-55 was the final there, but in regulation, it was that 42 game. 4th most in regulation ever. Number 1 was at Vermont, 70-13. Number 2, 1916 versus the always tough Fort Adams, 69-0. And then that Worcester Tech game. The one that really got me on the list, it's the 19th time Rhode Island scored over 50. And the one I liked the most was in 1904, the very first time it was against Westerly High School. That's that's a soft schedule right there,
Well, our athletic director's in here, and I'm sure hope he's taking notes on how to schedule going forward, because Worcester Tech sounds perfect for me. Let's get rid of Western Michigan and go play Worcester Tech. I'm good.
Westerly High School, a buy game. I don't think they're going to look for very much, Coach. You could throw them a couple $100. You probably get them over here. So
short trip too.
Keep them on the list.
We could probably take the yellow buses.
That's right, exactly. Hey, 58-17. I listened to you on Monday in the coaches' press conference that they have every Monday with CAA, and also listened to Albany coach Jared Ambrose, who was the other end of that 58-17 loss. And Rob Washburn, who conducts the interview, asked him, what happened on Saturday. Ambrose said, Farrell and Pena happened. That's what happened. And that's pretty much it, right?
It's pretty accurate. No,
Good start.
There's a lot going on around those two to be able to make that happen. But, you look at how we just came out of the gates. It was bombs over Baghdad, and it was some spectacular throws and catches. But the thing that was most impressive, I saw it all during the course of the week on both sides of the ball. Their preparation was really good, and that transferred into the field. Good things happen to the guys that work the hardest, and it was so good to see, Greg Gaines get his signature game. Dev has been working extremely hard, getting more and more comfortable with the offense. The coaches are putting together better and better plans. It was a perfect storm. We obviously look as coaches to the, to the negatives, the things we can do better, but give credit where credit's due. Offensively, we were cooking. We were able to run it. We were able to throw it. Defensively, they're getting off the field. We created 4 turnovers. Didn't turn the ball over one time. Our return game was going, with the exception of stupid penalties. That's the mark we need to be able to go ahead and improve upon and get rid of those penalties, and we've got even more dominant performance. But it's going to be required going down the stretch. I mean, this is a huge game versus Bryant. We're going to have to hit on all 3 phases, every week, and I'm just hoping that we can continue to just improve. That was our best game so far this year, most complete game. And now, as always, it's been said, you either get better, you get worse, or you never stay the same. Mm-hmm. So we got to get better this week, and we got to try to do the same thing.
I want a pizza from Andrew. I said by 6:15, Coach will mention the penalties. So I was in on that. I got it. I knew that
hard
was
to do, man.
Top of the mind.
There's
for
11 of them, and then there's a lot of guys running around in stripes in my head at night. It's
Coach Ambrose said this as well about Devin, and I thought it was a pretty cool way to put it. They asked him about his game plan. He said our game plan was hit him, knock him down, and make him frustrated. He said we hit him, we knocked him down, but he didn't get frustrated.
No, and he also avoided some things. I mean, the play he had when he scrambled out, he had pressure in him. He scrambled out to his left and dropped a dime on Greg on the sidelines. That's when I took a deep breath and said, all right, this could be pretty fun to watch, But he's a very steady competitor. It's really cool, and he's not a guy that just has to get out of there and run all over the place. He'll sit in there and take a hit and deliver the ball, and he's done that. He's a tough dude.
Yeah, and you're right. A lot of those are long passes downfield. We're going to talk with Flan about that.
Yep.
I've got all the numbers as far as there's yards after the catch as well, but a lot of those were just deep passes, and he was on the dime every time. And I was saying that for Greg Gaines and Moses Mews and a few others, they picked a bad week to have great game because all the awards went to Devin and AJ on either side of the ball, and AJ got the FCS National Defensive Player of the Week, which was a great honor with the 4 sacks to take the all-time lead at URI.
Yeah, I mean that's a tough honor to get, and I really thought Devin probably deserved it too. I didn't check to see who won it on offense, but it really made me think how hard that is. We've had 2 since I've been here. One was a special teams player years ago. It was Amir Dorsey, who may be one of the better football players that's ever come through here. And then to see AJ get that honor, I thought that was very appropriate, very happy for him. But as we don't mention them a whole bunch. I don't mention them to the team a whole bunch. They're individual awards, but I think we all embrace and are very proud because they don't happen without the team around them. And I think the kids who get the awards, I think that they recognize that and pay a lot of tribute to their teammates. Yeah,
Pena and LeJon Jones, the only 2 URI players to ever have 4 sacks in a game, and URI has one of the national players of the week. You mentioned Amir Dorsey was the other. And Devin, 19 of 20, missed the first pass. After that, perfect.
Shame on him. I was ready to bench him. I mean,
Here we go again.
Yeah, here we go again. No, he was spectacular. You just see him getting better and better with the command of the offense, and the guys are putting together some really good plans. I mean, those things that pop open, wide open, don't just happen by chance. Those are things that are designed to be able to get matchups that we want, and we were able to go ahead and be productive off of those, and then it takes the throw and catch to get it done.
So he was the offensive player of the week in the CAA. It is the second time that Rhode Island in their history have won offensive and defensive players of the week in the same week. 2001, it was Luther Green and Paul Pisciotti. Paul Pisciotti, one of the all-time greats for URI.
All right.
That's good company to keep, we say. Good company. Stone Freeman did a great job putting all those notes together and all the stats and everything. And he comes up with a lot of history, and all of a sudden I'm sure he's like, okay, let me find all this stuff. But it was a great win for Rhode Island, 31-3 at the half. And you had mentioned that in the past, hey, we're yet to play our best game. And I know you just mentioned the fact that this was it up until now, but hopefully things even improve more from there. We mentioned offense and defense. Special teams. Angel Sanchez come a long way since that first week, Coach.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, he's a dynamic player. We knew that when we got him. But his decision making's gotten really good back there, and he's a physical runner. He breaks some tackles and got going. But when you look at those return games, it's always about staying engaged with the people that are blocking. And we made some strides. We still haven't hit the best there in what we can do in the return game. That's always been a staple that we've had that I think has been fairly consistent. We still have a ways to go. I just felt sick for him. I said, what did you do wrong? Why does everybody got to go ahead and take all your big gainers away with a penalty?
No kidding, right?
Because he'd be way up there in the stats if we hadn't detracted by doing blocks in the back and holdings and those kinds of things. But he earned a lot of yards for us, and he's a dynamic kid.
Type of game that in the second half you got a chance to move some people into the game that we haven't seen much of or any of so far this year. Terrence Campbell was one of them and did a nice job for you.
He did a great job. You put a true freshman in there and let him rumble, and he looked a lot like Littleton out there. Just lowers his pads and runs. He's got good vision. You've seen Winovich. He made a big play for us that had an explosion. Catch and run for a touchdown that got called back because we blocked down on the goal line, if you remember. But and then it was really cool at the end of the game. Tyler Loftus, the quarterback coach, wanted to keep Dev in for that last series. He got a couple first downs. I said, all right, put Connor in. Connor finished the drive.
Yeah. And
then be able to go ahead and throw his first touchdown pass to Dixon, which was really tight. I mean, it's really cool to see these guys get their first college experience, and we've been straining to try to get ourselves in a position to do that. But it takes that kind of score to give you a chance to let the coaches be comfortable enough to let's see how they do.
Yeah, because going into the game, the first 3 quarters, if you take them separately, Rhode Island's been behind in each of those quarters. Now they've been way ahead in the fourth quarter, and that's why you've won just about every game you play. But you have moved into even in the first quarter, plus 17 in the second quarter. Still third quarter is minus 33, but the fourth quarter is now plus 76. Pretty big number for you, Coach. So the early numbers are getting better.
Well, I think that's always what you strive for. The opponent has something to say about that. You always try to get it done. We've had some horrendous starts. You've seen them. I mean, with all 3 phases have made errors early in games that, put us in bad position, particularly short fields off of turnovers or not a good punt. I'm thinking about all the bad stuff. I don't need to do that.
We'll bring you down by the end of the show, Coach.
No question. No question.
You'll think you lost that game at Albany.
Well, I dug it.
Hey, it was second half, and I'm saying, where's number 2? I haven't called Connor's name. What's going on? And all of a sudden, boom, he gets right in
how
there.
How about that catch? I mean, that was a throwing catch.
That was the best.
For the ages. I mean, he just went up there, I think, one-handed, pulled it down, comes on in, inbounds. I didn't even see it. I said, what happened? We just scored a touchdown. I said, well, okay, good. extra point. Let's go.
Yeah, field level. It's hard to see sometimes.
Sometimes in that corner,
right?
I couldn't see it.
Yeah,
I didn't, but, I looked up on the board. I did see it.
We were right underneath it. And that was just an unbelievable one-handed grab.
Yeah,
one-armed grab.
Tight window throw. I mean, it's pretty impressive what's going on there.
Brendan Barrow, okay? A little bit of work for him.
Looking forward to a little bit of work for him. He got nicked up in that game at New Hampshire.
Yeah.
We tried to run him, one time, and we said, hey, he's not ready. We're going to have to go with the other kids. And, he's fully healthy. He's ready to rock and roll for this weekend.
Didn't really need him that game, as it turned out.
You never know.
Yeah, right.
You always want everybody available, but we tried to get him going, and it just wasn't going to be. And
better that he got the rest.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I look forward to seeing what we can do this weekend.
We mentioned some of the guys getting in, the depth pieces, and I can't let it go by without. Andrew Meehan was cheering in the press box, which is against the rules, but we let him do it once because he's a Barrington High School grad, and Alex McClellan got in there a couple of times.
Yeah, no doubt. That was cool. I mean, the kids, came out of Barrington High School as an option runner. Very physical. I watched him on scout team all last year. He's a very physical kid. He's got big arm too. But, Flan and the boys put together a good package for him, and he had some productive runs. And the one that he continued to grind, he looked like Littleton's carrying people for 5-6 extra yards. And that's a good component to have.
Yeah, we're going to talk to Flan about it, too. I mean, Flan's had some imagination, especially the last few weeks and everything, with some extra options like a Barrow to do some different things. Yindy Johnson gave you a good game as well. He's been contributing.
Yeah, he has. I mean, he's been a 2-year starter for us. He's a consistent player. We've got to continue to go ahead and get more production.
Yeah,
just taking the balls away, but I think he did a nice job on the secondary in that last weekend.
He had an interception, a sack,
yeah.
And you mentioned taking the balls away. You were +4 in turnover margin, getting the team up to -3 from near the bottom of the league to the middle of the pack in the league right now. Had to be happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's what have you done for me lately? We got to do the same thing. No, seriously. I mean, you can't turn the ball over, and you got to be able to take it off of people. Now, we've talked about it. Defensive staff, me. We'd like to set goals. a reasonable goal is 3. A greedy goal is 4. You get that 4, that's great. Now you think that the tap may be open. Now you got to continue to build on it. And if you can start doing that down the stretch, that makes all the difference in the world. The field position changes. You get more opportunities to do what we can do offensively. And at the end of the day, that's what defense is for. Get off the field and get the ball back to the offense. And if you can do it by stealing it, do it as many times as you can.
When you have a game like that in an area and a statistic like that, do you see it pouring over into the next week?
I mean, you'd like to think so. It seems to be over the years that I've coached on defense that once you get, your habits are there in terms of stripping at the ball, in terms of how you recover it and be timely. I mean, the coolest periods to watch during the course of the week of practice are what Lorenti puts together with circuits in terms of turnovers. Guys are ripping at it. Guys are pulling up, either scoop and score. They're working on fetal recovery. They're doing all the specific fundamentals and doing them over and over again. And then you combine that with a hard-playing defense that is going to be there at the ball when it pops out. Then you're going to go ahead and see those numbers open up. And it's a combination of the fundamentals, the amount of people you get to the ball, how hard you're hitting, and then be able to react to it when it's on the ground faster than your opponent.
A couple of more numbers that I think you'll be pleased with, and you know them. But third down conversions, offense, 7 of 11 for Rhode Island, at great efficiency. And defense, Albany was 2 of 14 on third and fourth down combined.
I mean, those are great numbers. And then if you can do that and take the ball, do all the things we did last weekend continually through the year, it's going to be very tough to beat us. Now, those are good scripts to follow. But third down efficiency, turnover margin, those are the things I always look at. All the rest of the stuff is not secondary. They're all important stats. But, those ones seem to be really focused on. And we hate third down conversions on defense. We do. I mean, and offensively, you want to be able to manage the game to have a lot of third and shorts. But they've been doing a great job, and they got the good plays dialed up on both sides of the ball.
Red zone offense. In there 6 times, 5 touchdowns.
Right on. Yeah. Right on. And then when we've got a field goal
kicker,
we've got field goal kicker that has some range. So it gives us some choices. He hit a 52-yarder today in practice, and that will give us a little bit more options to manage to get extra points. But we like touchdowns, and they've done a really good job finishing drives. And we've gotten more discipline as we got into the season. You saw early season we had some mistakes down in that low red area. We were getting better there, and we got to stay disciplined there and finish drives on touchdowns.
Brian, on Saturday, 1 o'clock at Mews Stadium, what challenges do they present for you?
I think that they're going to be a salty group. I think that, they've won 2 games. They've been in a double overtime loss to Campbell. They had, opportunity to tie Towson at their place with a 2-point conversion that didn't get done. They had control of the Brown game. Brown came out second half and got it going. They're a frustrated group, I think. They lost their starting quarterback. Yep. They've got a new kid in there that I think they finally found. Number 10, he can run, he can throw, he's got good arm talent. You got a back that can really hurt you, and I think a solid O-line. And then on defense, I think that's their strong point. They've been stopping the run very well. They've got a very good defensive tackle, Oddie kid who can really play.
Yeah, he's a good
one of their DNs quite a bit, and they're a long athletic group in the back end. So they're a very good football team, and they're going to have a lot to say about the outcome of this game. They got to come into Mead. Mead's going to be a nasty place to play. We're going to play very hard, and we're going to play nasty as well. But they're hungry. I mean, I think when you look at it, I hate to go back to Brown, but with the Brown-Bryant opportunity to knock us off our pedestal is everything that they live for at this point in time. Bryant wants to be able to go ahead and take that step in the CAA by knocking us down, and we're going to have to do everything to prevent that. And don't let it think for 1 second that they won't be talking about that we won the championship on their field and had big celebrations. So, there's going to be it'll be an emotional game, and it'll be a good one, and I know Merritt will have them ready.
Second week in a row, you're going to play a team coming off a bye week.
I think it's the third.
Didn't hurt you against Albany, certainly. But usually that's a little bit of a challenge, right? They get some time.
You know that people have a chance to heal up more than anything else at that point in time, and might have a couple of things that they work on during the course of the week. I think Bryant, the defensive coordinator, was on there on the press conference that you were involved with.
Yes.
Talked about they spent some time on us. We haven't had that opportunity, so we just got a regular practice weekend, and it'll be interesting. I don't know how much more, but it's one more week that they have to be able to fine-tune what they've they've morphed into with the new quarterback. You know, the personnel. I think they know what they want to do right now, and they're dangerous.
Got a couple of guys here for the show, Flanagan and Lorenti. You know them at all?
I'm going to toss it to them.
One's been here 6 years. The other's been here, 11 years with you, right?
These shows are more talking than I do during the course of the game. All I do is listen to go back and forth. These guys go ahead, and I'll pop up every once in a while and say, punt alert or something like that. That's about my involvement. These guys are they're top-notch. I mean, I couldn't be happier with the way our staff has come together, the way they're operating together. There are so many good, talented, bright, people in those rooms that it really is inspiring to watch them work, put their plans together. They've got command of their units. They're playing extremely hard, and they're as good as they come.
Chris is 6 years here, but 3 years as third year as the defensive coordinator, and for Mike, been 11 years, but first year as OC. Yep. And you watch the game develop, and you say these guys have probably been doing this for 15 years. I mean, they're doing a great job.
No, I'm telling you, we've had transition in coaches, whether however we've been able to put it together, and I think that decisions have all been made, to be able to help improve what we do, and I think that we prepared and playing like a championship level defense. Our offense is showing that level as well. We just have to prove it every week, and the kids got to take it to heart and go play.
We're going to talk to those two guys coming up, one of them, and then get the other one up after. Whoever's eating will be able to go second. Whoever's done eating will go first. We'll finish this segment with one more from Coach Ambrose on Monday, the Albany head coach, interim head coach right now, and he said about playing Rhode Island, he said it's like whack-a-mole. You hit one down and two pop up. And that's, I think, it's a very well-balanced team.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is. And I think that's the way it's, the guys have done a great job bringing the right type of players in and put them in the right positions to be able to make plays. And now we just got to continue to go ahead and improve as a team and find ways to win one game at a time.
Parents' Weekend, going to be a full stadium at Mews Stadium on Saturday at 1 o'clock. Jim Fleming Coaches Show. We'll be back with the DC and OC in just a bit.
All right.
Welcome back once again to the Mews Tavern. Got a great crowd on hand. URI football, hot as a pistol right now. Absolutely. 6-2 going into Saturday's game. 1 o'clock start over at Mews Stadium, and going to be getting it going against Bryant. The Bulldogs are in town, and that's a nice intrastate rivalry ready to roll. I want to thank our friends at the Pizza Gourmet, Rhode Island's Wood Grilled Pizza Crust, proud sponsor of URI football. Order online today at woodgrilledcrusts.com. That's woodgrilledcrusts.com. Another reminder, Rhody Athletics Challenge ends at midnight tonight, 12:01 to be exact. Go to gorhody.com and make your donation for URI football. And there's great ways to double your money for the investment to URI football, and also for them to achieve bonus money as well as one of the top programs. And all the money goes specifically to URI football. It's an important day, and we're getting some great response, and we hope that you get involved before midnight, 12:01 a.m. GoRhody.com. The headline is there, and then there's a little icon underneath for donate. Just hit that. It'll send you right there. It takes 2 seconds to do, and we'd appreciate it very, very much. Defensive coordinator, inside linebacker coach Chris Lorenti with us. Tell you what, man, they have a defensive coordinator of the year in this league. If they do, you're getting it. There is no question about it. No question about it. Third year on the job. You know what? You tell me. If you were voting, right, you didn't know anybody from anybody, and I told you that this guy's defense right now in the CAA is number one in total defense, number one in scoring defense, number one in pass defense, number one in opponent's third down conversion, number one in sacks, and number one in red zone defense. Would you say that's probably the DC of the year, right? I would say.
We got players of the year is what we have.
Now, we're eighth in rushing defense. We'll get to that, Coach. But, no, it's still not all that bad. Those numbers are your numbers, though, and you got to be pretty proud of your guys.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a lot of fun to be around these guys. They take pride in coming and showing up every day and doing their job, and I think it shows with some of the numbers. I mean, defensively, naturally, it's like a process-driven thing in practice. You're not able to tackle in practice. You're not able to sack the quarterback in practice. So our guys get very obsessed about how to arrive at the quarterback, how to arrive in position for tackles. And I think we have a great mindset right now with a lot of our young guys, and it's showing right now.
Terry Lynch, who is a very good friend of mine and the color commentator for our games, Hall of Famer at the University of Rhode Island, as a player, as a coach. He says that our defense reflects our defensive coordinator. Everybody is going crazy, working hard, doing their thing, and just not out of control, but making it happen. You agree with that?
Yeah, I think working hard is a good thing.
Yeah.
And I try to work hard, and I certainly hope the players mimic that, and I think we're getting that out of
That
the guys.
energy, though, you bring to practice and that you bring to a game as well, that's part of you.
Yeah, I love being around football. Blessed to be around football, blessed to have the opportunity to be here with Coach Fleming and the staff, and just try to show every day my appreciation for being around football.
Mm-hmm.
And I think to be around the game every day, like these players are and like these coaches are, is a very special thing, and I try to make sure that the players understand that. We're very blessed to be in the situation that we are to do this every single day, and we try to give it our all every moment.
Let me make it clear. We appreciate you being here. All right? We really appreciate you being here. 6th year here, but 3rd year as DC. What do you know now that you didn't know then 3 years ago?
Quite a bit. I think I've learned a lot about football, structure of defense. Coach Fleming's, helped me out a lot in my development defensively and how to view things and how to attack offenses. But I think more than anything else, I learned about our players. Mm-hmm. I learned how our players tick. I learned how to motivate our guys, what they respond to. Uh-huh. Learned what they do well on the football field. Learned how they learn, whether it's a group that you have to walk through more with or a group that you have to watch more film with. Really learning about the players. I think I've been very lucky to have staff continuity on defense. And I think
so when you say what they respond to, it could be different from one kid to another?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think some guys you gotta pull a little bit, some guys you gotta push a little bit. And learning about those guys and how they tick. Some guys you can coach in front of others, some guys you want to pull aside and have a conversation with them. And that's how you get the most out of each player individually. Mm-hmm. And once you can learn about them and be around them enough to know that, you can motivate them the right way.
What percentage out of 100, I guess percentage implies out of 100, doesn't it? But is it, hey, here's what we do defensively, try to beat us, or, hey, this week we're going to do this because those guys do this?
I think it's really we're going to do what we do.
Yeah.
It's just, how do we do it? How do we present it? Maybe a little tweaks within what we do each week. But, we're going to do what we do. We believe in the structure that we play, and it's been tested now over 6 years. It's a similar structure that we ran in 2020 when Jack Cooper got here as a coordinator.
Yep.
And I kind of carried that over, and certainly there's some differences now. But it's the same structure, same philosophy. We've had 6 years now to kind of work on it. And staff continuity is huge, and we've had the same staff now on defense going into our 3rd year. Mm-hmm. And that is really a big reason for our ability to play the way we are on defense right now.
It's got a lot to do with this guy, right?
Sure does.
People come here as a coach, want to stay here as a coach.
Yeah,
right?
and he knows to keep the right people around, and I'm very blessed to have a great staff on defense.
I was pointing to Coach Flem, by the way, for those of you who are listening at home. Not Andrew Meehan, but Andrew, we would like having Andrew around too. +4 in takeaways had to make it a short ride home from Albany for you.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, anytime you take the football away and give the offense field position, that's our job.
Yeah,
Our job is to get the offense field position and set up the special teams. And if we can do that, we feel like we're certainly servicing the program.
Coach talked about your drills at practice with the takeaways. Talk a little more in depth on what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to keep it in the forefront of our players' minds that we want to take the football away. I think the thing that sometimes players forget, they're trying to be perfect in what they do. They want to be great.
Yep.
And so when you put a structure out there defensively and you have a play that you're going to run on defense, the players want to execute that play to the best of their ability. And I think it's easy to lose sight when you're in the weeds of it as a player. You could make a mistake on defense, and you could still chase the football. Mm-hmm. And you get to the football, you still have tools in your tool belt that you can utilize to take the football away. The play's not over. Mm-hmm. So I think it's to challenge them in their mindset of don't stop when you make a mistake, keep going, and that play's not over yet. So just each week trying to keep it fresh for them and come up with some different circuits, some different drills to just reinforce the same old things you're trying to reinforce, but do it in a different way. Try to always be aware of the football. What ball is the ball carrier holding? What hand is the ball carrier holding it in?
Okay, yep.
And how can we attack that football? You're not just trying to make tackles. Mm-hmm. You're trying to take the football away and set your offense up.
Let's go back a few months. Spring, August. Plenty of answers on the offensive side. We pretty much knew most of it was set. Defense, a lot of question marks. A lot of people graduating and through the program, so you had a lot of holes to fill, positions to fill. Had to be fun in one way, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think the staff here has done a great job at recruiting different body types with different skill sets.
Yeah.
And I think we're multiple enough on defense where we can find a role for a lot of those different body types. And I think that those guys, they all have similar mindsets. So they come in and they work hard, and maybe it's a guy that can pass rush. Maybe it's a guy that's, a little bit longer and you can put him on the edge. Maybe it's a guy that you can put him at the second level. Maybe it's a guy that plays, in the back end, third level defense, but he can roll into the box on second down and first down. So I think, we've recruited some really talented players that have great skill sets, a lot of different body types.
Yep.
And I think we're finding roles for those players.
So for fans early on, it was like, okay, I'm not familiar with that guy. He might have been in the program but didn't get a lot of time last year, or came in the portal. But either way, especially those that came through the system, one or two that have even exceeded your expectations and what you thought when you going into camp.
I've always been looking to see what Moses Mews was going to be capable of for us.
Yep.
And obviously he's having a fantastic year, and that's really a tribute to his process and his week-to-week work, and how he approaches the game of football, how he prepares for the game each week. I think Case Mankins, and seeing him develop and flourish as a player, played for us as a freshman. We knew he was going to be a good player for us, but the consistency that he plays with is something that's really hard to do up front like he does.
Yeah.
It's a violent position, and he has put himself in position physically to be able to play a lot of snaps up front.
Now he was there with Kareem Wilson early. Kareem got hurt in that Bonaventure, SBU. I always say Bonaventure. The Stony Brook game. Talk about that moment. Pivotal moment for you as a coach and your players as a team.
Yeah, I think initially when someone gets hurt on the field, it's always the same reaction. You run out there and trying to see what's going on and be there for the young man. And we did that in that moment. But when you turned around and you saw the football team standing on the hash, it was a very powerful moment.
Yeah.
It was very emotional out there. And as a coach, you're in the middle of a football game. So you got to find a way to talk to your team in a way where you're acknowledging what happened to their teammate and to our brother. But you got to be able to motivate those guys to be able to play the next snap without being insensitive to the situation that just happened.
At the time, those of us looking from the outside in say, wow, that's a big loss. And it is. And how's he doing, by the way?
He's doing great.
Yeah.
He's doing great. He's up and moving around now. He's down to one crutch. He'll be walking again shortly here.
Excellent.
And he's working his tail off here in rehab.
That is fantastic. And then that hole needed to be filled. Patrick Conserve comes to the forefront. Tosin Akansalari as well. Some guys that really helped you out.
Yeah, those guys are local guys, and we've always known that those guys can be consistent players for us just because of how they show up every single day. But it's great to see Tosin put the work in that he does. He's the first guy in the building every single morning. He was that way last year.
Really?
I think he learned from that defensive line group last year, that older group.
Yep.
He kind of latched on to those guys a couple years ago and learned their process and how to do things. And it's really showing for him. And I think Pack and Serve is a fire plug. He's an energetic guy. He's a guy that you want to be around. He's a guy you want on your team. You want to be teammates with that guy.
Another local guy made good, right? Absolutely. Out of Cumberland. I can't believe I've talked to the DC for almost 10 minutes and haven't mentioned A.J. Pena. Special guy.
Yes, he is. Yeah, he's our leader on defense. He's our emotional leader. He understands, how important it is to bring your best every single day. It might not be possible to bring your fastball every day, but he certainly is packing that. And he's gonna show up every day and bring his best. Got great energy, and as a play caller, it's always nice when on first down, you call a play and you get a sack on first down. That's always fun.
Not bad, right? Yeah. Not bad. 7 points you gave up against Holy Cross. 7 points against LIU. 17 against Stony Brook and against Albany as well. So 4 of the 8 games so far, and 20 against Campbell. So 5 of the 8 games have been 20 points or less. Talk about the mentality of seeing that scoreboard and chasing that shutout. You're close, and is that a mindset on the sideline?
Yeah, we're not necessarily looking at the scoreboard for that reason. We're trying to learn the situation that we have to play in based on the score, but yeah, it's always nice to see the scores down. Our job here on defense is to keep the points down. So if the points are down, we feel good about that. But I tell guys all the time, you can call me greedy, but I think those points are high in some of those games.
Okay. You're a tough guy. I'm glad I didn't have you in school. Fourth quarter, 86-10 is the number right now. 10 points you've given up in 8 football games. That is an amazing. Anything to that other than that's when it happens?
I think it's program driven from the head coach on down. I think Coach Fleming does a nice job at stressing the fourth quarter all year long. Winter conditioning. There's moments in winter conditioning where we will pause and we say, okay, it's fourth quarter time, and those 4s go up. A lot of teams do that. They put their hands up and they say it's the fourth quarter. I don't know if every team means it.
Okay.
And I truly feel like our team means it, and I think Coach Fleming understands that you have to put something behind that. You can't just say it. So us doing it in winter conditioning, us doing it in spring practice, us doing it in training camp, when there aren't games to play, I think it translates directly to our games. And I think there's meaning behind it, and they know that they got to go win in that fourth quarter.
One area, the last few games and then into the playoffs, one area that you could see your defense improve, what would it be?
I think leveraging the football and tackling.
Okay.
I think confidence. Like you said, we have a lot of new players, whether they're transfers or young guys.
Yep.
So even if they were in the program previously as young guys, they need experience playing. And when they get out there, it moves fast, and it's a chaotic environment. I think they might know what they have to do, but might not be able to execute it in the moment. And I think we learned how to leverage the football. Where do I need to be on that ball carrier when he's outside of the box? Mm-hmm. Where do I need to be on that ball carrier when he's inside of the box? And if you can leverage the football with confidence and understand you're not playing defense alone, you have 10 other guys out there with you that you can leverage the football to. You're not afraid to miss tackles. Mm-hmm. You can go take your shot on your leverage side, and you can trust your teammates around you that they'll leverage the ball back to you. So I think trust on defense in your job and the guys' jobs around you has really developed for us.
Got 30 seconds because Coach Flan is chomping at the bit saying you've taken his time. Bryant, Saturday, what on offense do they do that concerns you the most?
I think they are very physical offensively.
Yep.
I think they're gritty. They're a very gritty group. They know how to grind out yardage. They've got receivers that can take it deep on you. They have a quarterback that can run it and can throw it, and I think we're seeing that a lot this year. Mm-hmm. So it's a stressful thing. You get the third downs, and it's not as simple as just saying, okay, yeah, they're going to throw the football.
Sure.
You have to defend everything on third down, and they're a team that's going to go for it on fourth down at times too. So I think the way they call plays and the players that they have make it really difficult to get off the field. So we're going to have to bring our best on Saturday to be able to win this game.
Coach, we appreciate you a lot. Appreciate it very much.
Thanks so much, Steve.
All right, Chris Lorenti, the defensive coordinator for the University of Rhode Island, the best defense in the CAA. Take a break. Coach Flan coming up next. Welcome back once again to the Mews Tavern. It's the Jim Fleming Coaches Show, Rhode Island at home on Saturday. Are we interrupting your conversation over here? We're rocking and rolling. Chris Lorenti was with us. Coach Flem, of course, who is having a brisket sandwich right now. It looks awfully, awfully good right there. My grilled chicken that they're brewing up for me. Can you cancel that and make it a brisket sandwich, please? That would be good. New England laborers are training today's workforce to build tomorrow's communities with cutting-edge facilities in Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and Connecticut. You'll gain the classroom and job site experience needed for a rewarding career in construction. Offensive Coordinator, Associate Head Coach of the URI Football Rams, Mike Flanagan is with us, ladies and gentlemen. 11th season, hopped on board 1 year after Coach Flem came in, and you've been with him ever since, right? That is your fate in life, to spend over a decade with Coach Flem. Bishop Hendricken, St. Anselm's, and the Hendy guys. He is the reason we have 18 Hendy guys on the team. There's, right, we got like 6 of them, I think, right?
Six
Something like that. Yeah. So, and one of them, Angel Sanchez, doing a great job for you, right? Now, Angel, I know he's a wide out, but he's on special teams. He's really improved a lot. Coach was talking about it earlier. A word from you about him. I know you're proud of him.
Yeah, I'm proud of him. He's a guy we really wanted out of high school. Had some stuff that he needed to handle to get himself in the right situation to be here. But he came to our camp every year. He proved he was one of those guys in state that wanted to represent for the University of Rhode Island. And we're very appreciative and excited that he's here now and he's making the most of it. So we're very proud of him.
Gabe Franco, a Hendy guy, and we've got a few others as well. 22 Rhode Island guys on the team, 6 from Hendy, 4 from Classical, 3 St. Ray's, a couple of LaSalle, a couple of Cumberland, Barrington, Middletown, North Kingstown, Narragansett, Johnston, 1 apiece. You're not the recruiting coordinator anymore, but when you were, you concentrated on them, and that's carried over to Coach Loftus too, right?
Yeah, it's carried over, and it's always been from Coach Fleming. When he took over the program, he wanted to recruit this state, and I think that we've done a great job being able to recruit this state, be able to showcase the talent and help develop it. And I think it's helped raise the high school programs. I think that the coaches there have done a great job continuing to develop the talent at a younger age, and we've been able to get a lot of great players and continue to work with them and, play a significant role on this team.
First year as OC, doing a great job. I mean, it's just a fantastic. It looks like a seasoned offensive coordinator is calling those plays. How's it been for you?
It's been great. Yeah. It's up and down, and there's some weeks where it seems really good. There's some weeks you think everybody loves you, and the next week they want to fire you. But I knew that coming in. I had a chance to learn from some different offensive coordinators over the years, all of them who I respect a lot and learned a lot from. So you understand that going into it, and all you can do is give the players the best game plan going into it, the highest level of coaching that they can handle, put together the best plan and go out there and play loose and play confident and try and win a football game.
Going to do what we did with Coach Lorenti. CAA stats, number 3 in total offense, number 3 in total offensive touchdowns, number 2 in passing, number 2 in pass completion percentage after the 19 of 20. It bumps them right up bumps the team right up into the number 2 spot there. Number 2 in pass completion percentage. We mentioned that. Number 2 in touchdowns, and number 3 in first downs. Number 2 in third down conversions as well, succeeding on 47%. Red zone offense moving up the ladder as well. What do those numbers mean to you?
The biggest thing is the wins, losses. So we go out there to win games. We got a great defense. We got great special teams. We got to play off each other. And that's the most important thing. Those numbers are just show, the areas that we try and really focus on, which is heavy emphasis on third down and continue to improve as much as we can to get touchdowns in the red zone. So it's good. It's complimentary to our staff that puts together really good game plans and our players that are very talented. But we want to be able to attack people any way we can. So I think there's some games where we're going to be able to sling the ball around, and there's some games where we got to be able to run the ball. So I think the efficiency that comes within that is being able to highlight those matchups and take advantage of them week to week.
First year, as we said, as offensive coordinator. What's your offensive philosophy?
We got to be tough.
Yeah.
We got to be disciplined, and we got to be tough, and we got to continue to prove that week in and week out. Can't let the moment get too big for us. I think our guys do a good job. They're aware of their talent, but they know that the defense is going to do things to take that away. We just got to continue to improve week to week, and I think that, our guys have, put a lot on each other to be able to try and continue that week to week, and it's something that I'm excited to keep seeing our offense as we're going forward, continue to improve, and most importantly, try and take care of the ball better than we did early in the season.
And you've been around the offense, running backs coach, the whole works throughout your career here, and you mentioned you picked and grabbed from previous offensive coordinators inside or outside the program. Who are the biggest influences on what your game plan is and your approach is?
I think the guys in the room, my staff, are the guys that I have a lot of trust in. Some familiarity with guys that worked with in the past. Tyler Loftus and Will Fleming do a really great job being able to dissect a lot of the pass game. Drake Jackson, Sebi De La Sudas, Aiden McClellan, they do a great job in the run game and protection. So I think the biggest thing is just being really open to all the ideas and then, being able to pull it all together for a game plan and execution based on who we're going against week to week. But I got a lot of trust in the staff. I got a lot of trust in my players. So it makes that part of the job really fun and, really a lot of pressure off me and put it on them and put it all together and let's go play football.
How about a certain quarterbacks coach, former quarterbacks coach at Rhode Island, who is now in the NFL with the Jacksonville Jaguars, heading them up? You lean on him a little bit?
We see, great relationship with him. He's been very, helpful to me over the years. We do have some influence in our offense. Probably looks a little bit different than the ones in the past, but some of that is influenced through some of the stuff they've done and some of the other NFL schemes.
Liam Cohen, of course, we're talking about, great player at UMass and was here as a position coach for a little while and has gone on to being a head coach in the NFL. I think that's a promotion.
He's done pretty well.
He's done okay. When the offense is humming, what does it look like?
It's just fluid. It's fluid. Guys are playing with confidence. Execution, is going to fuel the emotion. So the more we're able to go out, the more we're able to focus on play-by-play, picking up one first down at a time. It's nice to see when everything starts coming together and the guys are playing loose and confident,
The offense starts with the O-line, right? And you had a lot of guys back that gave you a good crew. Just talk about their influence on the game.
Yeah, everything to me, both sides of the ball, it starts up front. We need to be more physical and continue to be more physical at the offensive line position. We're going to challenge those guys. I was, fortunate enough to be able to coach them last year, so know what they're capable of. And, whether you run for, 200 yards or 100 yards, and it's never good enough. So I think with those guys, they have a lot of accountability on themselves, and we got to just keep pumping them for more and more week to week because that's where you win games.
The run game is the one area where I'm sure you're looking for some improvement. Littleton is a special player without question. He got a lot of work early and seemed to fatigue a little bit, and you're getting him that rest. Talk about bringing in a guy like Barrow, Winovich, how that can help, because lately Littleton's been around 15 carries a game rather than plus 20.
Yeah.
Helpful?
Yeah. Yeah, it's helpful.
Yeah.
It's helpful, and getting some of those guys back healthy has been, important for us because we want to be able to run the ball. We want to be able to do it with different flavors and, big and some speed mixed in. Littleton was taking a lot earlier in the year, so I think those guys stepping up. And then Terrence Campbell, who's a guy that got to go in and, kind of had his moment last week. So really excited about that running back room. The more we can lean on those guys, especially as we get into CAA football late in the year, that's where it's going to come down to. We got to be able to run the ball. We got to stay committed to that, and we got to continue to improve.
Also, it gives you a chance to use your imagination a little bit, right? With extra backs that can be out there, or Connor Feiner could be lining up in the backfield. Talk about some of that stuff.
Yeah, we went out in recruiting and we identified guys that we felt could fit different parts of what we want to do with this offense. And as we continue to grow, you continue to learn these players better, especially with transfers that might only be 1 year guys. So you start plugging and playing them in different situations and see what they're capable of. And if they can catch the ball and run the ball, let them catch the ball and run the ball. If they can block in there, that makes it all the better, too.
We had Connor on a couple of weeks ago, the last show, and he mentioned how much you were the reason, one of the main reasons why he came to URI. And, of course, the role that you explained with Tommy Smith and all. Talk about the recruitment and the development of Connor Feiner.
Yeah, we turned on his tape and knew he was a guy that we wanted to get here. He was playing in a triple option offense where, he was recruited out of high school as a linebacker to USF, ended up at Kennesaw and played some offensive tackle at times, played some receiver in a triple option. So he was a guy, he's tough as anything, and he's really talented with the ball in his hand. Saw that through some glimpses and had to give him an opportunity to do that, and he's taking advantage of that.
Yeah, third leading receiver on the team right now, doing a great job in a lot of different positions. At the beginning of the year, you had a 1 and a 2, two very good wide receivers, Marquise Buchanan and Greg Gaines. Now you got a 1 and a 1A, or you got a 1 and a 1. You got two of the best in the league.
We do, and we're fortunate enough to be able to keep those guys in the era of transfer portal and everything else. But they came in, Marquise loves the program. He's got a ton of pride in this state, which we've talked about a lot. And Greg Gaines was a guy that came in looking for an opportunity, felt very comfortable with what we got going on here. He stayed. He had other opportunities, so fortunate enough with them. And then guys like Abora Kortang and Amari Walker and everybody else, our quarterback does a great job getting through the progressions. And we'll game plan and try and scheme stuff up for guys, but the quarterback gets through it and see who pops at that moment.
When you got Marquise on one side of the line out, and then on the other side you got Gaines for a defense, that's like pick your poison, right?
It's a lot to prepare for, and you'll see some teams that are more worried about one guy than the other. And I think our guys are very selfless and understand the scheme and getting them to understand where the ball's going throughout the week. So when it happens in the game based on coverage, they understand it and they run their routes hard and know at any moment they could get the ball. So and they love each other and they play off each other very well.
Is that what you do, like first quarter? Do you determine, okay, this is going to be a Marquise Buchanan day because this is how they're defending us, or it's going to be a Greg Gaines day, or maybe it's going to be a Connor Feiner day? Is that something, first quarter, gather information and then go from there?
Yeah, throughout the week you're trying to game plan matchups that you like based on what they've shown on film. And I think the defenses that we faced have done a good job trying to switch things up, and our quarterback's done a really good job dissecting that and finding where the ball should go. So.
Absolutely. So Drake May, he had the big game against the Titans, 21 of 23, and he said, I don't want to be a check-down Charlie. I want to go downfield. And I thought, well, the guy who played the day before, Devin Farrell, was no check-down Charlie. Let me tell you, he was 19 of 20, 19 of 19 after missing the first. 18, 14, 23, 17, 32, 27, 42, 26, 26 again, 47, 28, 17. Those are some of some yards after the catch, right? But a lot of those were downfield.
Yeah, and that's something that we wanted to, we want to run the ball. We want to be able to take shots down the field, and we got playmakers to do it at the quarterback position, the wide receiver position. So, we got the matchups. We're going to let that thing air out and put a lot of trust in those guys to go up and make great plays, and the quarterback to put the ball where it needs to be.
He can extend a play. He can keep himself alive back there. You can't cover Marquise Buchanan for very long, right?
You can't cover him for very long, and when the quarterback can extend it, when you're talking about a 4 to 5 play that, second play that turns into a 7 or 8, that's trouble, and that's exciting for us and helps us be able to move the chains downfield.
Devin's been good all year, but he was great on Saturday. Breakout game for him. Have you seen a difference in him this week?
I think Devin continues to grow. I think he's very aware of the things that he needs to improve on. He's very hard on himself. So it's never good enough for him. If you ask him how he played in the last game, there's a lot of things that he wants to improve on. So having that at the quarterback position and then as a leader on the offense really sets a high bar, and it's exciting to be around, and it's great to have as a coordinator.
In today's world, right, quarterback, it's athletic ability and everything, but arm and everything else, legs, but it's also decision-making. He's a smart kid, right?
He's a smart kid, and he's got the ability to extend plays, but he sits in that pocket, and he takes hits and everything else, and he gets the ball out, and he's a tough player.
Bryant, coming up defensively, what do they do that concerns you?
I know their defensive coordinator very well. He does a great job. They're physical. They got a really good D-line. They got a really good front 7. They got length on the perimeter at the corner positions and in the back end. So they're going to try and put some pressure on us. We got to be able to take advantage of the matchups and make them pay when they make a mistake.
Coach Flan, you are doing one heck of a job, man. I'll tell you what, I love that offense.
You are too. You're my hero, man.
I'm sure you love that 58 up there, didn't you? That was a good one. Mike Flanagan, Chris Lorenti, Coach Fleming. Thanks, everybody, for being here at the Mews. Go Rhody!